Strange, isn't it, when you look back at things that you thought were absolutely outrageous and shocking. Things like the Sex Pistols, remember them? I recently interviewed the film director Danny Boyle all about his brand new movie called Pistols, and here's a picture of the very young cast, all taking on the roles of the people that of course were rather shocking way back in the mid-70s. Do you remember Pretty Vacant, God Save the Queen, Johnny Rotten swearing on TV? Ooh, shocking. Now in today's society it seems all pretty tame, doesn't it? And it's interesting to note that those things that shocked us the first time around are now simply part of the establishment. And there's none other more established than Sir Mick Jagger. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Thanks for joining me today. Nice to have your company. This particular story really is for fans of a vintage here, because if you remember way back in the early part of the 60s, you were in two camps really, weren't you? It was the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. The Beatles allegedly were seen as very clean cut. Paul McCartney told me that. He said, you know, it's hard to believe now, but we'd come from Hamburg and thought we were incredibly rock and roll. And within a few years we're appearing in front of Our Gracious Majesty the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, alongside the Hollywood icon Marlene Dietrich in a royal variety performance. That one was of course where John Lennon famously said, "Rattle your jury." Yeah, that really offended a lot of people. But on the other side of the spectrum was this. The Rolling Stones, considered oh so shocking, with their scruffy long hair, not wearing suits and singing about not getting any satisfaction. Mick Jagger was shocking. Now if you're a fan of Mick Jagger and co, you're going to love this, because there's a brand new 4-part documentary all coming out about the 60th anniversary of the Rolling Stones. I know, take that in, 60 years of the Rolling Stones. Where's that gone? What's interesting though is Mick and co sit down, as I say, individually for an hour, reflecting on their memories, their successes, their times. I like Mick Jagger. I've interviewed him on a number of occasions, as with Ronnie Wood and the late Charlie Watts. Strangely enough, there's not going to be one on Bill Wyman, which is a bit odd when you think about it, because he was there at the start. I also think it would be nice to see some of the people who stepped in when others were indisposed as part of those mega tours, because they would have some fascinating stories too. Mick Jagger, I remember, told me that the key to being a very successful rock star is to simply have a very good frontman. Yes, he was that shy and bashful. And I likened him seriously to another brilliant frontman, Freddie Mercury of Queen. Now Freddie told me that he did actually sort of borrow certain aspects of Mick Jagger's act as part of Queen from, of course, the Rolling Stones. And when you consider Mick Jagger is flamboyant, strange, posing, pouting and rather shocking, but apparently way back in the early 60s, certain girls, a good percentage of the world, wanted to marry Mick Jagger. Were you one of them? And as ever, would you be tuning in for this brand new documentary, which is set to hit the BBC, we think early summer part-time or something like that, and of course distributed around the world? If you're a Rolling Stone and you want to paint it black, or simply get some more satisfaction from Mick and the boys, look out for that very soon. I, for one, simply do adore the anarchy that was the Rolling Stones. Oh, and by the way, if you are a fan of the Sex Pistols, that particular film 6-part series comes out on Disney Plus and Hulu from, I believe, the 31st of May. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.